Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Ask Me Monday. I'm Vicki Howell, here to usher in another week with you creatively, hopefully inspiring you a little. You absolutely inspire me with all of the things that you're working on. This might make some of your eye twitch, the lack of level. We're just going to go with it. So we always start by just kind of hanging out and seeing like where everybody's watching from, and what you worked on over the weekend creatively. And if you have a pattern or a project or even like a yarn or a textile or a product that you're into, share it. I want to see all the things. I like all the things of making. So definitely don't be shy, even if you have to come back after this video is live and post in the comment section. This comment section really is meant to be a community corkboard. So if you're making something great and want to share it, please do so. So I am here at the Yarnier Studios, which is in this little tiny town called Buda, which is right next to South Austin, which is where I live. And over the weekend, I worked on a top-down t-shirt that I'm hoping to release in May, but it's going to look like nothing now because it's on these small needles. But I may change the color. It's a roll color now. I can't decide if I like that or not. I might do a little ribbing. But anyways, this is going to be a top-down cropped tee. Worked seamlessly because I don't enjoy the finishing. Striped in my yarn, my latest yarn, which is Montoya Merino Light in colors Roswell and Cumin. So I worked a little bit on this. There's a little slip stitch detailing you can see in the front. Doesn't look like anything yet, but it is going to. So that's what I worked on a bit. What did you work on? So I see that we've got people from California. We've got New Jersey representing and Chicago. Wonderful. So as you're sharing and hopefully like connecting with one another, I'm just going to dive right in. So this week we are going to work on a stitch that I really like called the Smocking Stitch. It is it's a take on the traditional fabric technique of scrunching in fabric decoratively. And so it's very, I'm sure that you've seen it a million times on sort of some beautiful Norwegian little kids' dresses and tops and stuff. But our version looks like this. So we're going to be working on this. It's really just one sort of special stitch. It's really just worked over 2x2 rib, and then you're going to do, you see that these little floats? These are created with the smock stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I love this stitch for things like pillows. This particular block is actually going to go into the blanket that we're piecing together for the Yarnier Block Builder Club. Side note, if you're interested, if you love learning new stitches and want to build that stitch arsenal and then also have sort of a piece at the end of it to commemorate your learning and your stitch practice, Block Builder Club, Yarnier.com, just $6 a month. All right, so this is a block that I am either going to put in the blanket, or if I don't do that, I'm going to turn it into a pillow. But I also really love it for anything that any part of a garment that might need a little cinching. So let's say a cuff, a waistband, or as is the case with my latest kit that we just launched today, a wee baby dress. So what's great about this is that I went to a smaller needle for the bodice portion, smaller needle plus using this technique really gave the shaping of this little top without having to do any shaping per se. There's really not a ton of work. It's just the repeat. So this particular kit that's out today, it's called Sunny. Believe it, I can't believe my almost 13-year-old had a dress that was about this size and fit in it. It looks like it's for a doll. This is the infant size, 0 to 6 months. I believe that we have 4 sizes total going up to 2T. I'm almost positive. So the kit that is available today, I have linked to from my website, VickiHowell.com, which is also where you can get the instructions for the smock stitch. The smock stitch, I have written up the multiple, so if you want to design yourself, and also put a swatch pattern for you to practice with. But if you're interested in this kit, I've linked to it as well. It comes with one of my branded muslin bags. It also comes with one of our vegan leather Yarnier Aqua measuring tapes, and you can get it in one of these 4 colors. And when you buy it in a kit, you save about $8-ish because you get the pattern for free with it. So in any of these colors, the one that I've made it in is Aura, but it's also would look beautiful in Utopia Fest or Saguaro or Roswell. So that is all available. Again, you can find all of these instructions and everything on my website. All right, so I'm going to flip over the camera and we are going to work on this swatch. Before I do that, though, I do want to talk about the supplies that I'm using. I already showed you the yarn that I'm using, which is Montoya Merino Light. It's my newest yarn. It's also the yarn that this sweater is made out of. We have kits for this too. This is called the Cropper. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I really want a black and white striped one, and I also want one in the neon yellow and also the mustard and all of the things. But this is a really lovely drapey sport weight yarn. It's superwash merino. I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's got such a beautiful drape. It's also what the dress is made out of. So I'm working with that. And then I'm also working with my Vicky Howell aqua wood needles. So that they come in a set like this. You can see that there. And you don't need circular needles for, actually you don't need them for the dress or for the swatch, but I always work with circular needles because they're easier on the wrist. So they come in a kit like that, available at yarnier.com, or you can buy individual. We have 2 or 3 lengths. I'm not sure what we have in stock. So you can find that as well. So those are the tools that I'm working with. This particular stitch pattern is worked in multiples of 8 plus 2. So I've given you a swatch number, but you do you. If you want to turn this into a scarf or a pillow or a sweater or whatever, go ahead and do that. Just know that you need 8 plus 2, and that doesn't include any border. That's just for this stitch pattern. Okay, so now for reels, I'm going to turn over the camera. This is never pretty, so just bear with me. Okay, I'll make sure you have enough light here. Weird. Okay, so we're set up. I feel like you're getting a weird blur. Hopefully that's working. All right, so we are set up here to, first of all, I just wanted to give you kind of a close look at this. So this really turns 2x2 rib like on its head. It's hard to believe looking at this that you're literally only working knit 2 purl 2 for the majority of the pattern, but it's these little floats here that cinch everything in and transform it into this really cool sort of quilted look. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to move that over there. So as I just mentioned, I hate when you have to look at this little base, so I'm going to put yarn there so it's prettier. All right, so you're just going to work in a purl 2 knit 2 rib, and again, this pattern is ready for you at vickyhowell.com. And it's just as the stitches as they face you. This is a 6-row repeat, but most of it is just knitting and purling. So just as a reminder, you can tell these are purl stitches because you see the little bumps. So you know you purl there. You know that these are knit stitches because you see the little V's. So we're going to knit there, and so on and so on. Purl 2. And this is my wrong side I happen to be on. But again, just as the stitches face you. Okay, so now we're on a row where we are going to work our smocking stitch pattern with our smock stitch. So to do this, we're going to work the first 2 stitches, which are purl 2. And now we are ready to work our smock stitch. Smock stitch is worked over 6 stitches total. So what that is 2 columns of knit stitches with the purls in the middle. We want to take our right hand needle Oh, you know what I just realized? That's going to be confusing for you. Let's see if I can do that. Here we go. I had it flipped because when it's facing me, everything, all of the print behind me is always backwards, but now I see why I never do that. Okay, so for reals now, we are back. Okay, so I've worked my purl two. Now I take my right hand needle and I am going to place it in the space in between the 6th and 7th stitch on my left hand needle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not in a stitch, but in the space in between. I insert the needle through, yarn over, and I draw up a loop, and I'm going to take that loop and I'm going to put it onto the needle. And you want it to stay, I mean, don't go crazy intense, but you want it to be relatively tight because this is cinching everything in. Okay, so there's my loop. And then I want to knit that loop together with the first knit stitch that's on my left hand needle. So knit 2 together. And that creates that cinch. And now we're continuing in what the established stitch pattern was, which is the rib. Well, we've already, with that knit 2 together, taken care of that first knit one. So then I'm going to knit the next one. And then purl 2. Knit 2. And that is the smock stitch in its entirety. Now, I worked that one a little bit looser than the ones below because I want you to see the difference. And nothing is right or wrong. It just depends on what your overall look is desired to be. So I'm going to work another one. So there's a purl 2 in between. All right, so I'm going to count 6 stitches, and again, it's a column of 2, 2, and 2. Yarn over, pull the loop through, and this time I'm going to pull a little tighter. So let's see what happens. All right, I've placed that loop on my left hand needle. I'm going to knit those 2 together. And then I'm going to complete the stitch by knitting 1, purling 2, knit 2. And you can see it's a subtle difference, but you can definitely see the difference in smocking. I think that I like the little bit tighter, but if you can see down here, this one was too tight. It takes a little practice. It's really not that hard once you figure out the look that you want, but definitely take care and sort of make that life decision. All right, so that's literally the only special stitch that you do for this one, but I did want to show you. So the overall stitch pattern is created by alternating where you place those smock stitches. So we had just done, after you finish this row, you work back in just our knit 2, purl 2, just ribbing, and then you're ready for what will now be row 5, remembering that rows 1 and 2 were just working your rib. And I've switched over to the Roswell color. All right, so row 5, we see that we have our smocking stitch a couple rows below down here, and we want to offset it. So that means for row 5, what we're doing is purling 2, knit 2, and then purling 2 again. So we're really just moving over by a space. And now we'll work that smocking stitch as we did before. So again, 2, 4, 6, insert, pull that loop up, and you can already see that that's staggered where it needs to be. And then you're going to finish working the stitch. I also should mention that for this particular swatch, I have called for casting on 26 stitches, which is what I have done and what you're seeing. I'm going to try that for the 4th time. There we go. But again, as long as you do a multiple of 8 plus 2, you are golden. Okay. And that's that. And you just continue that. You would repeat the ribbing on the wrong side, and just as the pattern called for, you would repeat, so the wrong side repeating the knit 2, purl 2 would be row 6, and you just repeat those 6 rows until your piece is as large as you'd like it to be, or until your swatch is a square. That is all there is to it. No big deal, but lots of impact. Let's see what happens if I do this now. All right. And we're going to switch back. Ooh, I think I did it. All right, so that's really it. It's fun, it's easy. That was a lot of my face in your face. I apologize for that, but really impactful. So this is one, even if you are not up for making the sunny dress, or you don't have any wee bebes in your life that you might want to make them for, keep this one in your arsenal because it's really, really impactful. All right, so once again, if you're interested, we now have our sunny kits, and they come in 4 colors. The green abandoned ship off the table, so here's 3. And they come with a bag and the digital pattern, which includes all of the sizes. So I forgot to mention, these are really great because they grow with the child. They can be a dress when they're little, but the size 2T, I've had, my daughter wore hers up until she was 4 because it changed from a dress to a top. So that's always nice to know when you're making something, putting all that work, that there is some mileage. So this little gal, even though it looks like it's like, still could be a top potentially, maybe up until a year old, depending on the individual baby. So that is that. So you can get that. I've linked to that from the post at VickiHowell.com. You can also always just go to my store, which is yarnier.com. And then the last thing I wanted to share you, and you can also get the needles, of course, just a friendly reminder. Had too much coffee. I'm like, a friendly reminder that we are still selling our April boxes, and they are a $56 value for only $38. You get 440 yards of pre-wound into 2 equal balls, so the stripings will be exactly the same, of self-striping sock weight yarn. You get handmade, all natural garment soap for your knits and crochets pieces. You get 2 patterns for these cuff socks, and we have some instruction videos, or the crochet version, but we've also sent links for, I think, 4 other patterns that you can make with the exact same yarn if you're not into socks. One is this really beautiful scarf, which I showed on last week's episode, but there's also a little baby sweater, a chevron scarf, and 1 or 2 shawls. So check that out if you're interested. It's a great value. It's a beautiful yarn. If you missed it on, I guess it was Thursday, scroll through my Facebook feed. There's a really great interview with the president of the company of that yarn. It's Earth Yarns, and they just have a really great story, and their philosophy is really wonderful. So check that out too if you need something to watch while you are knitting. All right, that is all that I have for you today. I hope those who celebrated Easter, had a lovely Easter. If you're celebrating Ramadan or Passover, sending all that peace and love to you as well. And I'll be thinking about you the rest of the week. Please consider posting what you're making in the comment section. I really do go back and check on those and look at them, and it makes me happy. All right, I will see you next week at 12 Central here on my Facebook page. You can also find, this is episode number 230. You can find links to the previous 229. You can easily do that by just going to VickiHowell.com. There's a drop-down menu that for videos says Ask Me Monday, and you'll get all of the patterns and the tutorials and everything all in one spot. If you know a friend or anybody that might be interested in learning the Smocking Stitch, please share this video. It really helps. Until next time, take a little time to be creative, breathe in, stitch out. Love you guys.